Hello, everyone. It's Mrs. Conrad and my trusty sidekick Rojo here. And I'm here to talk to you about narrative writing. And Mrs. Liskovic, Mrs. Kukrowitz, and Mr. Rodriguez and I have come upon an awesome assignment. We're really excited for you, and I'm allowed to be the one to introduce it to you tonight. So I want to give you our learning goal, which is this, that we hope you can learn to write a narrative to develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective technique, relevant descriptive details, and well-structured event sequences. Although I will tell you, your assignment is going to ask you to use your imagination and develop an imagined experience. So what in the world is narrative writing? Well, a narrative tells a story. That's it, from a beginning to a middle and an ending. Some narratives can be true and about real people and real events. So if I told a story about something that happened to me today, that would be a real narrative. Some narratives, though, can include characters and events that could never happen in real life. Those are imaginative or fiction. Narrative writing, even if it is fiction, can be realistic with characters and events that could really happen, but sometimes narrative writing is just imaginative and tells the stories that could never really happen. So when you're writing a narrative, a writer often uses the following elements of storytelling. Well, you've got to have characters. Now, characters are the people in the story, but a character could be an animal. A character could be a wizard. A character could be a witch, but you need characters. Setting is when and where a story takes place. And oftentimes we focus on the where, but sometimes the when is really important as well. So you need to start thinking about where and when is your story taking place. Now, plot is so important. Plot is what happens in the story. Plot represents the events that occur. And you start with an exposition where we introduce our characters and events, and then we move into the rising action and develop the conflict, and we have our climax and falling action and resolution. Conflicts, well, those are the struggles that characters face, and we know that they can be an internal conflict or there can be an external conflict, but a good conflict is what's going to drive your story. Resolution is how the narrative ends, whether it's a happy ending or a not so happy of an ending. And point of view is the position from which a story is told. So let's look at some other elements that are important in narrative writing. And these are things, some of them we've talked about in Unit 1, some we will talk about in Unit 2. So I just mentioned point of view. Point of view is first person or third person. And it's the position from which a story is told. So when you write a narrative, you have to ask yourself, do I want one of my main characters to tell the story in first person? Or do I want it to be a narrator? And that narrator will tell it in third person. And then how much information is that narrator willing to reveal? Does the narrator know what only one character is thinking, or does the narrator know what several are thinking? We also want to add precise details that support and explain and enhance the story. So we want to use names and specific places. And even if it's made up, sometimes just naming a building like the Kukrowitz Country Store adds to the story. Or maybe you want to have the Liskovic Beach and events are going to happen there. But when you give it a name, it makes it come to life. Now, realistic deep dialogue, that's what makes a character come to life. And dialogue, using quotations, is going to help make your story, the plot move along, and it's going to reveal a lot about your characters. Earlier this year, we talked about sensory language and how important it is to use language that makes events seem real and entertains the reader. Soon we'll be talking about a tone and a mood. But basically, your story's going to have a tone. Is your tone going to be like a real serious story? Or are you going to write a funny story or an outrageous story? Or is your story going to be so serious that people learn a lesson? And finally, there has to be a mood. When I'm reading your story, do I feel uplifted? Do I feel sad? Do I feel angry? So those are discussions we will be having in class. Now, I'm going to move on to this. Here's our writing prompt. So over the next couple days, you're going to choose one of the following 8 photographs to use. And this photograph has to be used as either the beginning of your story or the ending. It can't be in the middle. Sorry, we're not allowing it. So you're going to look at the photos on the next couple pages. A sneak preview will be coming. And once you choose that photograph, you have to decide where in the part is it going to appear. Is this going to be part of the exposition, or is it going to be the resolution? And this is really important because this is going to guide your story. Now, please know we want you to have fun, because if you have fun writing a story, we're going to have fun grading it, and we have a lot of grading to do. So in the next couple pages, if you look closely at these pictures, there are some stories to tell. We just don't know them yet. So students, stay tuned because more is yet to come on narrative writing.